here today with my dear friend, Rose Covenant,
Mm.
and she is an ascension alchemist and the creator of the Beyond Awakening, where she supports conscious healers, leaders, and visionaries integrate their profound inner work into embodiment.
Mm.
She explores the space beyond healing. And so that's what we're going to speak about today. Once you've been on this inner healing journey and sometimes even identified with it,
Mm.
where do we go beyond that? So we're going to talk about coherence, about resonance, about embodiment, and about living from a place where you can be and share your greatest gifts.
Hello and welcome to Cosmic Intelligence, Demystifying the Unseen. I'm Salenta Fox, founder of the Inner Expansion Foundation. I am a master energy trainer, and I work in the field of energy intelligence, helping people understand how energy, the nervous system, and awareness shape how we feel, how we lead, and how we relate in the world. These conversations are here to make the unseen practical, especially for people who are sensitive, intuitive, or are deeply impacted by the world around them.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much,
Yes,
Santa.
thank you. And so today you are in Greece. You're traveling around the world. You are living your message, which is going with the flow of life, which is surrendering into life, even when you don't know what is going to happen or where you're going to be. And that's the realness of that, because I think, and that's maybe where we can start. When we're on a healing journey, it's very systematic. Maybe you don't know how it's going to look, and maybe you're still feeling, we're reconnecting with our bodies. We're reconnecting with our sense of self. And we are tuning into, what do I need next? Maybe it's this retreat. Maybe it's this person. Maybe it's this journey. But it's like, but I know that I'm clearing, I'm doing something. But when that is over, or when, and maybe it's never over, but as we move out of that identity and we move more into ourselves and embodiment, from my personal experience and from what you've had, when we start to say, well, I am me and I'm giving myself over to the universe, like, what is my highest good? That is sometimes an unsettling space. So how do you handle that space, Rose Covenant?
Sometimes an unsettling space. I love that. So first, just to peel apart this healing and post-healing,
Yes.
as humans on the planet, I think a lot of us start a healing journey because we feel deeply broken. We feel deeply identified with the wounds that we've experienced in this life. And when we become identified with healing, we're essentially trying to shift our identity from the intelligence that's organizing our experience being survival energy, being fear, which causes us to put on all of these masks of high achiever and overgiver and perfectionist and all of these different ultimate survival strategies, and shifting into embodiment, the embodiment of the intelligence of love, ultimately. So when we're talking about that shift of I'm identifying with being in this deep healing journey, oftentimes what that means in the body is that I can see the patterns that I'm doing. I know I'm in a toxic relationship. I know that I'm being triggered around abandonment or whatever that is. And in healing, it feels like I can't stop it. It's like a train wreck where I know what's happening, but there's something in me where that survival energy is so strong that it is driving the bus of my life. And as we do deep excavation work, deep trauma healing, we get to a place where that survival energy is no longer what's driving the bus of our life. The deeper, that's a ambulance. Do you hear that?
The deep trauma is moving out. Woo!
Yeah,
There it goes.
the ambulance is moving out of the field. as we're moving out of that survival energy driving the bus of our life and moving into our soul, our higher self, source energy driving the bus of our life, it's not that in post healing, you never get triggered, that you never have a human experience, that you never have
Yeah.
a difficult emotion. It's that you have shifted the locus of your identity from someone who's healing, someone who's being controlled by the
Yeah.
survival conditioning and patterns that are there. And so it's the love intelligence, the cosmic intelligence that is driving the bus of life. And that doesn't mean that sometimes survival energy doesn't try to grab the wheel, doesn't
Yeah.
shout from the back seat, like, take a left. You're like, what are you talking about? So there's room in embodiment of your ascension to still hold all aspects of your human life,
Hmm.
all aspects of the messy human. So, to your question of how to navigate that, listening to the intelligence of the field as it's
Hmm.
highly dynamic. We were chatting before we started recording
Yeah.
about that fluidity of the field, that we are in a place where we're in a vibrational universe. Every external thing is a reflection of an internal thing. And the ascension of the consciousness on this planet is super rapid. In the last few years, time is moving super fast, which means the field is moving super fast. So, in my personal experience, how do I manage it? Like, sometimes not very well. Sometimes when I first arrived, I arrived from India. I had spent 8 days there. It did not feel good in my body. I arrived in Greece, and it happens pretty frequently if I combine the elements of more than 24 hours of travel, disrupted night of sleep. And I hardly ever watch TV, but sometimes when I'm in that, oh, I'm just tired of on an airplane watching some sort of like drama rom-com,
Yeah.
the survival energy is like, I'm going to go ahead and ask for the wheel and I'm going to plan the next 3 years of our life. Thank you. The, the difference is that before, some years ago, that would have been something that I lived in, right? It would have been a state. It's like this constant anxiety, this constant need to know, need to fix. Whereas
Yeah.
in the embodiment, the post healing, where you're still working through the elements of soul evolution and being a messy human, it's the awareness that's able to hold, okay, I see what's happening. And I know that as I allow more stillness in my system, the field will present what
Yeah.
the next aligned action is. That I not just I don't have to, but I actually can't mentally strategize my way into a feeling of safety when I'm dysregulated.
Oh, I love that. Yes, the dysregulation. And I think
Mm.
that is such a good thing for all of us to remember, that when life will happen, things are messy, things are uncertain. Things do not suddenly become perfect just because now you're healed or you're in a higher vibration or you're on an ascension path, however you want to put it. I was
Mm.
speaking to someone just this week who was saying, she was speaking about, and she's done a lot of inner work and she has done all this work. And she was saying, we were talking about relationships. People think that if you're on this path and that your external world, how far along on your journey you are, your external world should reflect that, and you should have perfect relationships. You should
Mm.
have a perfect life and everything should just work for you now. And if it's not, then it means something is wrong with you still. And we were
And you are broken.
saying, and you are broken. You are having a disagreement in your relationship. You must not be a good person yet, or something like that. You must still have more healing work to do, which we do. And relationships are this amazing, beautiful container for that to happen. But what people are not seeing is two very healthy, healed humans can be in a relationship and communicate very well and grow and expand together. And that is what that is. Just because you're on this journey, you will have in fact, you almost have more uncertainty. Your life might even look less secure and less put together than it did before, because before you were in these structures that were fixed. And like you were saying, the survival pattern that is planning the next 3 lives, because that's what makes us feel safe. We're trying to get our external, our safety from outside of ourselves, from how everything looks.
Hmm.
But when we do this, it's about, no, I'm going to have this inner spaciousness within myself. I'm going to have coherence within myself. Life is still going to do life, but I get to move through it stable, grounded, maybe a little uncertain and like a little shaky sometimes,
Mm-mm.
but I'm not going to let the other voice take over.
Mm.
Would you say that?
Yeah, and having compassion and acceptance for
Ooh.
all elements of your experience.
Yeah,
When
that's
that little voice, there's almost a little bit of like energy of battling or confrontation where it's, I'm not gonna let that little s self drive my bus, you know? Like
I
there's
love that.
still that little bit of like, ah! When we can even relax more from that and
Ooh, I
say,
love this.
okay, we become not the person driving the bus, not even the bus, but the observer of what's going on in the bus.
Yeah.
Right. So there can be moments where it feels like that little s self has grabbed the wheel and it's driving again. And
Yeah.
the compassion and awareness of, okay, this is happening. These are the factors that are here. We can have compassion to bring ourselves back into
Mm.
coherence when we notice that there's a little bit of misalignment. Because when we look at ourselves with judgment, that misalignment then amplifies. And we're judging
Mm.
ourselves about judging ourselves about like when we can collapse those loops of judgment, it allows us to come into a more centered place
Yeah.
with more ease in that moment.
Yeah. I love that. Collapse it. When I hear that language, it feels like, oh, I can let it all go. I can just like, let all those voices, everything collapse into the center of me. And I can just, I can
Yeah.
now, watch my inner dialogue. And that's the rom-com, the drama going on. And that's more entertaining.
Yeah, the collapsing piece. There's also a lot of what I call narratizing. Narratizing
Mm.
meaning making a narrative to avoid feeling the feeling that I'm not wanting to feel in this moment.
Ooh, I
So
love that. Wait,
we
say that
can,
again.
yeah,
Narratizing.
narratizing. It is the act of being in a mental loop of creating a narrative to avoid feeling the feeling that you're actually feeling in your body in this moment.
Woo.
And
Yeah.
when we're in those places of noticing a judgment, of feeling like the small s self is driving the bus, it's often because we're feeling some deep emotion that is being subconsciously repressed because the mind has decided
Mm.
long ago that it's not a good emotion. Not a
Mm.
good emotion, not on the approved emotion list. And so we might be in a place where we're a little buzzy in our mind, we're feeling a bit dysregulated, we're reaching for things. But what is the emotion that's under that? Like
Yeah.
science says, an emotion will pass through your system in 90 seconds if you just feel it. But so often we don't just feel it. We engage in a narrative and we feel a little bit
Yeah.
of the feeling, and then we tell ourselves we shouldn't feel the feeling, and then da 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 da.
Yeah.
Then we're still holding that frozen feeling within us.
Mm.
Mm.
Yes. In fact, I want to name this because it sounds like what you're saying. And when we are on this healing journey, when we're into more consciousness and awareness, sometimes when we're bringing awareness, we want to know what it means. Like, oh, I'm feeling this feeling. What is this meaning? What is this saying about me?
Mm.
And it can be a tool in the beginning to bring more awareness, to process, to work through it. And what I have noticed as we do this, and you've become really, really, really good at that, is it can be a trap to stay in the emotion instead of allowing the narrative to drop and you just feel it and it goes away. It doesn't have to mean anything. Just because
Mhm.
I'm feeling intense sadness right now, my whole body is in a fight or flight actual response. It can just
Mhm.
be that it's feeling it. It's in a fight or flight response. And if I feel it and allow it through, it can just go, and it doesn't have to mean anything more than I am feeling feelings and sensations in my body.
Mm, mm. It's a beautiful, beautiful way to hold emotions. And there's a balance. The other
Exactly.
thing
It's not
about being,
always,
yeah, it's
yeah,
not always a personal narrative. This is the other big piece. Like, as
right.
someone who is very energetically, emotionally sensitive, I can be feeling a big feeling, and an old version of myself in a deep healing journey would be like, I'm feeling this grief and it must be related to blah, 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 blah. It can also be that I'm in a dense field, that I'm picking up on what's happening in the world around me. And because I
Mm-hmm.
am a coherent vessel, because I'm a sensitive vessel, the field is essentially using me as a capacitor, as a compression point to be able to allow this emotion to move through the field.
Mm-hmm. It's true, yes. But even if it's my own, I was talking to someone she was having an experience, she was going into a healing experience and her body was already afraid because there was a lot of past trauma that she knew was going to come up. It was already coming up before she was in the session. And we
Mm,
talked about this. And so I was like, well, what if you could just allow yourself to feel while you're on the table and you're having the session? And it doesn't have to mean what you thought it meant. What if you can disassociate, disconnect from the identity you had or are having now? And I heard you say that it's about, we have this identity of I am in a healing process and I have an identity of who I am. And I think as we start to collapse the identities more of what they mean or who I am or what that is, for me, it's a way of just relaxing and surrendering deeper down through the layers. And it's an easier way because I'm now releasing my mind and I'm coming into my body and I'm embodying.
mm. Yeah, there's so many pathways, and the discernment of what is the path of least resistance for me to bring myself, all parts of me, into love and coherence now in this moment is different for each person and with their experience. Like, just with the
Definitely.
word dissociate, I would shift
It
it
has a
to,
negative,
yeah, like, unenmesh. There can be so
oh, I
much
like that.
enmeshment in the identity of this bad thing happened to me and now I'm working through this bad thing. It's okay that to also grieve that as an identity. It's
Mm,
okay to let whatever emotions are there go. And some of the work that I do with clients is through a narrative lens where there's the combination of the mind,
definitely.
the body, the energy, and bringing the mind along, because we can be in a very elevated, like, transcendent, I'm connected to love and light, I'm connected to universal consciousness, and come out of the body. So instead of embodying
Definitely.
down, we are trying to ascend and go up. And that is also not holding all parts of
Mm,
ourselves. So
mm.
there's this delicate flow or ability to find what is most coherent for me in this moment, to collapse whatever distortion, whatever breath geometry is not true, whatever are still echoes of something that I've actually worked the root of, but there is still an echo of it in the field, as opposed to something that still has a lot of emotional charge.
Right.
And holding that to unpack the narrative layers that are on top of a deep emotion. Sometimes, in
Mm,
order to get to that deep emotion, we need to create enough safety through gently unpacking layer by layer that we can get
mm.
to that deep place. And sometimes, if you've done a lot of inner work and you have a really high tolerance in your mind, your body, your nervous system to tolerate those deep, deep emotions, then we can go there easier with less of the taking the layers off. But
Mm,
it's an in the moment thing. It's not something that we can give a prescription for, of this is how one moves
right,
into coherence.
right.
really using the cosmic intelligence, the intelligence of love, the intelligence of that person's body and experience in that moment.
Mm,
And there's so much, like what you're mentioning, this person going into a healing session and feeling anxiety about the healing session. There's fear of feeling fear,
yes.
anxiety about feeling these deep emotions. And it's
Mm-hmm.
expanding the field to be able to
Mm.
also hold, like, okay, right now I'm in fear of fear of fear of fear. Okay. You just feel that. You feel that for 90 seconds, that layer collapses, and then you can work your way in.
I love that. That's beautiful. I, I have a script here of things we can talk about, but I want to actually talk about your work and how you work with people. And so Rose and I met in Peru a few months ago. We were on the expedition with Robert Edward Grant. It was 10 days in the Sacred Valley. It was so magical, so powerful. And one day I was, we piled into many buses every day. You were sitting next to different people, and I had already connected with you a few times, but we got to go on a long car ride together next to each other.
Right.
And I remember I was processing something. It was actually a heavy day for me. And you were very gracious and holding space like you do, like you are right now. I can feel it in my body. And you were asking me questions, and I was sharing with you, maybe it was about my work actually, about I was seeing which direction to go, feeling into it, and the way that you held coherent space and listened, I could feel that field that you were holding. And just in that field that you were holding, I got more clarity, I got more peace, I felt more grounded. I might not have in my head had the answers yet to what was going on. I was still experiencing it, but you held that space so powerfully and grounded. And I want to bring that into this conversation because that's how you work with people, and
Right.
you work with people beyond healing in this next layer of space. And so what can you tell us about how to maybe get to that place or maintain that place? Because a lot of healers also watch this, and we're also on our healing journeys. Like we said, we're experiencing life. What has brought you to your deep state of coherence, Rose Covenant?
Hmm. Hmm. A few iterations, a few iterations. In my journey, I came out of being a very intuitive, knowing, sensitive child, born like so
Mm-hmm.
many of us into a household that didn't know what to do with that, and accumulated some childhood trauma, put on a bunch of different masks, my favorite being high achiever. That was my favorite. And people pleaser and overgiver. I like to all go together, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And built a lot of success with those masks. And my body turned on the chronic pain switch. I lived in chronic physical
Mm,
pain for 8 years. And that was my soul's path of least resistance to wake me up.
mm,
And that started a long healing journey, a really intense journey of shifting my nervous system out of fight, flight, or freeze, which it had been in for 30 plus years at the time, building the capacity to hold extremely intense emotions, and then moving into a place of holding those emotions without judgment,
Mm.
and a certain determination to live as the source energy being that we all mentally know that we are. We know that we're fractals of God. We know that we're incarnated on this planet in this moment because the earth is in such a tumultuous inflection point of, can we ground, can we embody these frequencies of higher states, these frequencies of love, and recreate, transition the world from one that is built on density and survival and fear and competition and separation? Can we, in a peaceful, loving way, shift that into a world that's built around love and harmony and connection and unwavering deep soul calling? It's not a
Mm.
mental decision of, I want to be the most coherent. It's
Yeah.
this deep soul calling of knowing that I have an incredible capacity to sit with big emotions, to allow them to move through, and to stay in my center. And that is of service to the world and clients now. It started
Yeah.
as me shifting out of survival mode, which
Mhm.
this world forces all of us into. And so when we are working with someone, like when I'm working with a client, yes, there are tools and methodologies that can guide that.
Right.
But the biggest thing that is of service is to hold that coherent field of non-judgment, of love, which allows
Mm.
the person that I'm speaking with to come into their clarity, to come into their self-healing, because all incarnations on this planet intrinsically have the ability to self-heal, intrinsically have the ability to be
Mm.
deeply connected to that source, soul, fractal of God that we are. It's not a unique ability. And
Mm.
when we're sharing coherence, sharing presence with someone who can hold that field, it allows the other person to soften the narrative, to
Mm.
soften the judgment, to soften the stories, and mirror themselves back into a higher
Mm.
coherence. I remember that conversation in the car, and so much of it, I could feel your energy was pulled up in your mind, and your mind was like, I'm about to figure this out. I'm like, it's like, I've done these things, and there's the table, and I'm gonna da da da. I'm like, so much of the question I was asking was like, what do you actually want? And just
Yeah.
holding that non-judgmental love, not what you think will work, not what you think you're
Yeah.
supposed to do, not what, but what do you actually want to be creating?
Mm.
It's so easy for us to get away from that question when we've done so many business masterminds, and we
Yeah.
know, to work with clients, you have to poke them in the pain points and poke them, and then position yourself as the only solution. And then boom, category of one, credit cards thrown at you. Like, yeah, okay. Not okay. And so that conditioning, it's just like the conditioning that we received in childhood. It's the
Yeah.
conditioning that puts us in boxes that says, in order to be acceptable, in order to survive,
Mhm.
through, we can talk about like abundance and allowing it in the universe, but all of these
Yeah.
marketing strategies are based around survival energy still, because the
Definitely.
subcontext is, if you don't get clients, then
Yeah.
you won't survive. And the
Right.
energy of that survival is
Mm.
speaking to contraction. It's creating contraction
Mm.
in the other person with the expectation that, okay, now I'm going to show what expansion is like. But what if we stayed in coherent, expanded fields and allowed
Mhm.
the intelligence of love to move through us and
Yes.
trusted that the universe is actually orchestrating all things in divine timing, not just told ourselves it, not just journal
Yes.
out, not just vision boarded it,
Yes.
but embodied that trust and light at a cellular level. That's what creates more solidity in that coherence, where it's not a state that we touch and then we bounce out. It
Mm.
becomes the state in which we dwell. And then the universe can speak through us, work through us, as opposed to us deciding, okay, here's my goal sheet and I have to do this, and how am I gonna get this done?
What you're speaking about here is moving beyond manifestation.
Mhm.
You wrote that down. You said living as a clear vessel instead of as a controller, because you're right. When you're in that, I'm in this manifestation, what are my goals? It's very much in our heads still. And I'm
Mm.
focusing and I'm thinking and I'm vibrating. But how do I vibrate? I don't know how to
I'm
vibrate. Do I just
vibrating.
think about it? Yeah. I remember going through this process. It's like, wait, I have to be the vibration of what I need, like, or what I want to manifest. Like, what is the vibration of $1 million? I don't know. Like, I would literally sit, it wasn't $1 million, but it was money amount. I would lie in my bed and be like, is it this vibration? Is it this vibration? Like, trying to vibrate it.
You're
Because it
like,
says I
nope,
have to
not
be it first.
342. No, a little bit. Oh, oh, there it is.
But that's still in my mind. Instead of what you're saying is moving beyond even that controller, beyond what that is, into this state of surrender. What if I surrendered into coherence instead of the vibration of the thing that I want? And
Mm,
I am connected to it. It's like everything. It's not one or the other. It's a blend of
mm,
everything, like we were talking about with the other subject too. Tell us more, yeah, about that moving beyond manifestation. Unless
mm.
we already talked about it.
Yeah, moving beyond, it's an evolution, right? When
Yeah.
a lot of people get into elevated consciousness and wanting to elevate their consciousness and wanting to cooperate with the universe, it comes through, like, my first foray was Abraham Hicks. She was like, "You're a vibration." I was
Yes.
like, "Oh my God, I'm a vibration." So good. Some years ago. So good. And as we're coming into that realization that we are vibrational, we're in a quantum mechanic universe, we are being reflected externally, what is internal, then we still have this list of things that we think that we want from the mind. We have
Mhm.
of, I want to be working with X clients, I want to be living in X place, I want to have, I don't know, this kind of car. Cars are not my thing, so I don't, maybe that's on your list. I need this watch or this whatever physical thing, or even I need this relationship. And a
Mhm.
lot of times that is coming from this vibration of there's something lacking in me. And I feel like when I get that
Mm.
thing, then it's gonna fix this vibration. When I get this relationship, I'm going to then feel love internally.
Mhm.
And when we're shifting out from I'm going to manifest things, the little S me, is going to manifest things that I've decided in my mind. We still have desires, but those desires start to feel different. They're not desires that
Mm.
we have kind of casually accumulated along the way through things we've seen. They're deep soul desires. Like, I
Mm.
want to be in divine union with my true beloved. I want to be in my highest
Mm.
world. I want to be in deepest connection and deepest community. And
Mm.
those soul desires are not things that are coming from the mind. They're echoes from future timelines that are echoing back, that are saying to you,
Mm.
this is what's coming into your experience through coherence, through aligning your mind, your body, your intentions. Like, essentially, if all parts of you are birds, getting all of the birds flying in the same direction, not, your mind's flying this way and fear of self-judgment's taking a left-hand turn, and your higher self is like sitting on a branch. It's getting all pieces of you moving in the same way. Then we can trust our coherence. We can trust that we are in a vibrational universe. And the
Mm,
most important thing is to remain in this coherent state, not in a rigid, I can never feel a bad feeling kind of way. And coherence doesn't mean we're always happy. It means we're always
yeah.
true. We're always
Oh,
in our authentic experience. Anger is not
yes.
coherent. It's incoherent to feel anger, but to say, no, this is fine. This is fine. Everything is fine, right? Coherence is to be in that truth, and through continuing in that truth and hearing the whispers of the heart, hearing the whispers of the heart is really our connection to that source God that we are, then
Hmm.
we can trust that the universe is working everything out in perfect timing, that we don't need to strategize and control and
Mm,
make our list of these are the 15 things that I am manifesting in. We can
yeah.
allow ourselves to become the vibration that is a match to those deep soul desires. Not because there's a list of things we desire and we're trying to figure out how to get them. And we know intellectually we're supposed to feel that vibration. So we're trying to search for the vibration artificially. It's
Right.
dwelling even deeper within the coherence within ourselves that we can trust that the universe is going to work it out so much better than our little self mind was going to work it out. Like, if you had told me 5 years ago when I was still working in public health, maybe 6 years ago, oh my goodness, 6 years ago now, working in public health, living in West Africa, that this would be my life now. Like, there's no way that the mind part of me could have created a life in which
Yeah.
my job is holding coherence with beautiful, powerful, amazing other humans to support their soul evolution while I travel around the world, connect deeply with sacred sites, and commune with amazing people. Like, that was not on my bingo card. I couldn't have foreseen that. And that's allowing the universe to work its magic through us
Hmm.
instead of trying to control what that magic is. This kind of
Mm.
touches on the Lemurian and Atlantean descent, but maybe that's a conversation for another day.
I would love to have that conversation with you, actually. I would love to. But yes, another time. Um, you said something about why higher states can feel more threatening than pain.
Hmm.
I think that might be a good place to end on, and to bring this in as we're speaking about coherence and moving in and moving beyond healing. Yeah. How, because this is a thing when we're so used to it, the work that I do is about raising your baseline, right? It's about, we're used to this, we have a comfort level of here, and sometimes pain is comfortable,
Mhm.
sometimes not, sometimes dysregulation is comfortable. I can be doing a lot of inner work, but at my base, I'm still dysregulated because and so, and that can feel more scary than the dysregulation of the pain. Tell us a bit about that,
Yeah,
or how, or how you assist people to move through that, even
yeah,
that new
I think,
state.
sorry.
The new, how I said the new state. How do you assist people to find that comfort within the new state?
Mm. So when we have been on deep healing journeys, a lot of that is becoming comfortable and expanding our capacity to hold emotions that previously had been consciously or subconsciously suppressed or repressed. So from childhood, we subconsciously learn, like, okay, can't be too angry, can't be too sad, also can't be too joyful, also can't be
Mm,
shouting for joy. And when we're in the mess of the deep part of the healing journey, our first gate, that first expansion point after we've regulated our nervous system enough to be able to hold these deeper emotions, we get really used to handling pain.
mm,
And there's something very common in our experience of, okay, we get used to pain, we're acclimatized to pain. So we don't fear as much. We don't fear pain as much. And then we start to make more space for joy and love. And when we're in those states of joy and love, there's this little survival brain that's like, but what if it doesn't last? But what if the other shoe drops?
Mm.
But what if it's going to go away? And so there's threat. The nervous system misreads those higher states as threatening because the nervous system is, as you say, acclimatized, used to being in a stress state. And so when we're first
Mm.
in that rest and digest, when we are allowing more love, more connection, more abundance in all ways, not just money, but time and freedom and
Mm.
connection and community, there's this piece of us that doesn't quite trust it.
Mm.
And there can be a tendency to want to keep excavating, keep looking for the pain, keep looking for the distortion, keep looking for the survive. There's more in there. Just keep
Right.
going it through this deep, dark hole. And that's where we become identified with healing because there's something safe in the act of I know that
Mhm.
there's something in here. I know that there's something broken and I am going to fix it. This
Mhm.
focus on fixation, but just feeling content. And it doesn't have to be reaching for these high states. Like, we're not asking every day of every moment, I want to feel like I'm riding a rainbow unicorn on the rings of Saturn, and that's all I do every day. It's this baseline of neutral to content is what coherence feels like a lot of the time. It's
Mm.
deeply present. And
Right.
so, how to shift that is one, to allow the awareness of, okay, I see that there's part of me that wants to keep digging, even though there's nothing quote unquote wrong. There's this habit of like, but I'm a doer and I'm going to do and I'm going to dig.
Mhm.
Part of it is bringing yourself back again and again through breath, through meditation, through repetition of feeling what it feels like to actually feel regulated, to practice
Mm.
feeling regulated, to practice
Mm.
feeling your feet on the floor, to practice noticing, where is my breath right now? Am I taking deep
Mm.
breaths? Am I contracted? Am I sucking in my belly because I think it's cuter when I do that? Like, what is going on in my physical body?
Mhm.
And that shift it's both gradual and it's a phase shift when
Mm.
we're moving out of that survival intelligence energy being the driver's seat and that love being in the driver's seat and allowing that to feel scary because it feels like letting go of control. It feels like letting
Mm.
go of the idea of safety through control, even if it's not actually creating safety for us. We have the illusion that it is because we have the illusion we're controlling something, even if we don't actually have control. The mind likes to play the game that it thinks that we do.
Yes.
So it's surrendering into and breathing through that feeling of uncertainty that we don't know
Mm.
what's going to happen next. And we can think that we know. And a lot of times in my own life, I will still give my mind a little plan when my nervous system is like, oh, like I arrived from India. I arrived here quite dysregulated, traveled more than 36 hours. And so mind's doing its thing. And I was like, okay, mind, I see that you are feeling a lot of grief around the feeling of having to leave places. Because as a
Mm.
nomad, it's like, okay, I've been here 30 days, 90 days. Now I have to go. It's
Yes.
not I want to go to the next place. I actually have to leave. And
Yes.
that echoing past threads of trauma. So I was like, okay, mind, here's the plan. You're just going to stay in Greece. You're just going to regulate for 3 weeks. And if it feels like you want to stay in Europe, you're going to apply for a Croatia digital nomad visa. And my body was like, we can stay. And I was like, yeah, you can stay. You're fine. It's okay. And like, just let go, release the field. It's going to organize itself. And literally the
Mm,
next day, I get a call from a friend who's going to this festival in Costa Rica, has an amazing opportunity for me to do an activation there. And I'm like, okay, now in 2.5 weeks, I'm going to Costa Rica. But I wouldn't have gotten that call. I wouldn't have been in a
yeah.
place to receive that invitation if I was still spinning out about being in the
Hmm.
grief of feeling like I had to leave places. So I gave my mind, I was like, okay, mind, here's one plan. We'll see what actually happens. But
Yeah.
this is a plan, and it allows the mental process to downgrade from red alert, something is wrong, everything's out of control, to like green, yellow, like, okay, we'll just see how it goes. And in that space is where the magic of the universe comes in.
Mm, I love that. I love
Mm.
that. So, hmm, you work with people one on one, correct? You hold this space for people like I experienced on that bus, except for it can look many other ways too, because you do have this capacity to hold deep, big space for humans.
Mm.
Yeah. So we're going to put all your information at the bottom of the episode if people want to work with you, if they want you at their events to do these beautiful activations, groundings. But before we leave, I would like to ask you, you've already given us so much valuable stuff, beautiful stuff. I even feel myself more calm or grounded in this moment.
Mm.
If you were to leave people with one thing, maybe a practice or something to remind us to anchor into our bodies, to stay embodied, to have our human experience, to be in our minds, but also
Mm.
to anchor back, what would you offer?
Mm. Hmm. I will offer a short practice, but first, the guiding allowance, invitation that all parts of you are welcome here.
Mm,
All parts of you are welcome here. Hmm. To
mm.
shine bright, to fall apart, to yell, to sigh, to grunt, whatever it is. Just welcoming all parts of you here now. Hmm. And anything I offer is always an invitation. Feel into what feels good for you. I invite you into sweeping out your aura. So, feeling the energy in your hands and your palms, just taking a moment to focus on the center of your palms here. You can bring your hands in and out with each breath, just tuning back into the energy in your body. And when you're ready, just physically taking your hands and pushing them out around you. And as you do, just imagine, visualize coherence, maybe a white light, maybe a golden light coming through the palms of your hands, and just letting go of anything that's not true in this moment. And holding your hands out with your palms facing outwards, taking a few deep breaths. And as you blow out, feeling that golden white energy move out through your palms, flooding your field, just calling all parts of you home, back into coherence, anything that's in the past and the future. Bringing your hands to your heart. And again, just welcoming all parts of you home now, here in this moment. Nothing to do, no place to be, just to be here.
Hmm. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you.
I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you too. This is so beautiful. I would love to have you back. You have traveled to many distant realms, dimensions, universes through your
Yes.
existence, your experience, and in your human form to these beautiful sacred sites. And so exploring some of those journeys would be beautiful in any and all dimensions you remember. And so
It's gonna be a long show.
and maybe we have it be a longer show. I think that'd be very interesting to just allow ourselves to explore and travel interdimensionally with everyone. That would be beautiful. So thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate you feeling your energy, grounding us. And I feel more expanded just having had this conversation. And that is what coherence is. That is what healing without field is.
Mm,
And in the yeah, the energy healing practice or course that we have, that's what we talk about, is that as we become proficient healers, we can do all the skills and the tools and techniques, but it's about being coherent enough yourself, grounded enough, stable enough internally to be able to start to heal with your field.
mhm.
And that is what you do. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us and listening. If you enjoyed this content, we invite you to like and subscribe. If you're interested in energy intelligence technologies to calm yourself, regulate yourself, and start to use these technologies for your own benefit, you can follow the links below and engage. Thank you, thank you, thank you.